And then I see this guy. He's out here macking at my school, and like, and he seems cool, you know, like he's got out, like, yeah, I want to call him a poser, but it's legit, you know.
Because I got the white powder face,
right.
looking like the Crow.
Like
I got
guy's-
long duct tape dreads, black and white, beat it out, you know, and I'm just,
Let's go.
everyone's a poser to me.
So I'm here with King 810. This conversation is actually 10 years in the making. I've had okay. I just want to tell a quick story, and then we could finally move on to you guys. So we did a tour together, 2014. Mm-hmm. You know, you're one of the bands I watched for obvious reasons. You guys are fucking psychopaths.
Same.
And then there was one evening that, of course, a few drinks were involved. I think it was me and the ex-guitar player for Anino, Diego. We're like, we're just gonna go up there and talk to him.
Okay.
So later, I actually just reevaluated this memory this past week, and it was actually super disrespectful of what we did. But we were trying to walk up on your bus.
Yeah, this is funny. I'll give you a little context just to pause you, and then
Sure.
we'll pick back up where you were at.
Let's go.
The whole tour, we were only living in our bus, and there was 15 of us.
Yes.
So it's just a crew of people with masks and hats and only our T-shirts.
Okay.
Didn't have a friend in the world, pretty introverted, and we're like, yeah, you know, these bands are about to find out who we are because we were just stupid kids, right? Mm-hmm. We're like, you don't talk to anyone, you don't. Well, half of us were on the run, so they're kind of hiding out in the bus, and we're keeping to ourselves. And I'm like, yo, there's 15 of us. Don't go fuck anything up. You know what I mean? You're doing this, you know, X, Y, and Z. There's a lot of moving parts, so I'm just kind of like, we're gonna stick together and stick on the bus. Plus, we're all friends since we were kids. It wasn't like a situation where we were bringing someone on the road that was a crew guy that you might have known.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know anyone from our group because we were just our group.
Yes.
So we kind of stuck to ourselves. So the context leading up to this point is the tour's nearing an end. I remember this day. And you weren't alone. We didn't talk to anyone, you know?
Yeah.
So everyone was getting curious. So now you can pick it back up. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, sure. I'm not sure if your driver was protective, but she was like, no, get off.
Yeah, she was kind of like the mother figure.
Pretty cool.
These 15 dudes that were just stupid kids, you know, pretty much breaking any type of rule in, around, outside the show, inside the show, on the tour, off the tour.
Yeah.
You know, she had to live with us all day. So she was awesome. Her name was Michelle. She's from down south, so she'd just make sure no one was going in or out that wasn't authorized. You know, I remember what you're talking about, though. It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't disrespectful to us, but we probably just stared at you. Does that sound about right?
I'm not aware who I saw. I don't think I got on the first step. She was like very on it.
Yeah, she was working security detail, but we weren't necessarily paying her for security. She was just doing that pro bono.
Mm. Did you come up with this prior to this trip? Hey, we're just gonna, like, this is our bubble, and we don't want anyone to fuck this up. I mean, was this like a pre-conversation?
I think that's just how we are at home. So there was no difference to we didn't really separate the life of the being at home and then going on the road. You know what I mean? The group that we had, that's our group. Those were the people we lived with. So we packed up our things from our house, got on the tour bus, and it never occurred to anyone that we might want to do some networking. So when you're like, the conversation is 10 years in the making, that's really true, because we just recently decided to speak to people very recently, like in the last few years, you know?
Okay. So this was a conscious choice.
Maybe, but I think it was kind of subconscious. Having no desire to speak to anyone because you were just living in your own universe. It wasn't anything where we showed up and thought we were cool. It was probably actually the opposite.
The opposite.
Yeah. It was kind of like, we know we don't belong here and everything, and we know we're nothing like these guys, which is actually pretty negative and kind of a little bit destructive, but it was like, who cares? These are my shitty friends, and I was kind of halfway worried that they would just do something wrong, you know, because they don't really have the etiquette. So the way, you know, you're like, it's disrespectful to bust down someone's bus. These dudes were doing way more disrespectful shit. So I kind of try to reel them in a little bit because it can go south when you have 15 guys that think they're on a road trip, you know. And that's what our first tour was. So there was no etiquette. So I kind of just was like, we got to stick together.
No, that was very accomplished. 'Cause, yeah, it just rose a lot of curiosity. You know, because there's like a few. I think you guys at that point played a few shows, and then there was, you know, we're seeing videos and people are talking, which is what you want, and then okay, now we find out we're doing this tour together. That was Eddie's first tour with us, and then so we're excited, you know, and you guys are just. Yeah, you had your own bubble. A couple of your guys will like go out and say what's up. It's like pretty much impossible to keep 15 guys on like a bus. It's tough, but yeah, we were. I mean, our band is usually the ones who are like we like anything, and that's like not exactly what's happening. Yeah. So you guys were like one of our favorite bands on the tour.
Oh, sick! Yeah. Likewise, that was awesome. I really liked the tour, even though. Looking back on it, I guess from the way we're talking about it now, we might not have made the most of it, but I was happy with it. I thought it was cool. It kind of, in a way, could be taken as, I think this was taken from the outside, the perspective of something was contrived or planned or whatever. Sure. So when you say something like, did you plan this to do this before you went?
Yes.
It wasn't really a plan, but it kind of gets interpreted as that because in this industry, it's such a superficial, pathetic industry that
100%.
There's constant paranoia. I noticed some of it is psychological projection, but you know, if you go and see a good band, they have to be on tracks. They can't be really doing that, you know, because I'm not doing that. That's kind of the attitude. So when they see a band like us, and they're like, oh, they say they're from Flint, and you know, they have this history and this past, and they're really weird and they keep to themselves. They're like, they must not be from Flint. They must just really be an industry plant, and this must be a psyop. You know, that was kind of the thinking, and it kind of worked in the outside world because we never cared to clear it up. We weren't desperately like, hey, just so you guys know, we're legit. Because we don't give a fuck.
We also kind of didn't have to do that because we got arrested.
Oh yeah.
They were kind of like, oh, it is real. Before Mayhem, we had got arrested because I was going back and forth to trial dates that entire tour.
That was another thing. Yeah, like we would play the show and then have to get on the plane to fly home to go to court, and then fly back in the morning or after the next day after the court to go to play the show again. We played at noon, so we were doing like a whole series of court cases. Yeah. So we didn't really want to bro down with bands, and neither. Just to be clear, neither of us drink. We've never drank and we've never smoked or something. So we're both straight edge, and we don't want to do that anyway. But besides that, we were like, we had shit to do, and we were thinking, you know, we got to beat this case and shit. And we would do rock the show and stuff, and all that was cool. And we would play at noon, but we were really kind of thinking, we were focused on the case for the first tour.
Yeah, people, I know you're just now speaking about it. People just, you had the two sides. That one was like people knew, oh, this is a different thing, and they're serious and they're not fucking around. The other side was, it's just a gimmick. It's just like a show. Yeah. So you have both sides. So it sounds like it kind of worked.
Yeah, it worked in a way. I would rather just people left it alone in that sense, because I could be just full of myself and delusional, but I consider myself artistic and stuff. Mm-hmm. So when people say things like, not that I care what they say, but when they interpret it as something like, I'd rather it just be interpreted as this artistic stuff, because I already know that the industry of music is an industry. and I don't care about being real to a bunch of nerds that, you know what I mean, live with their moms and stuff, or comment online a lot, or even people that I don't even consider my peers, not to be a dick, but I don't think I'm better than anyone. I just say that to basically say that I know the business is a business and an industry is an industry, and we didn't show up. Maybe it appeared this way. I don't really know how, because we never really got into any real stuff as far as on the road or with bands or anything, but we didn't show up trying to tough guy people and stuff, I guess would be the simplest way of putting it. So being real and stuff is cool, you know, in the world, but this is where I understand the complete suspicion that people have about things being contrived or gimmicks or whatever. I understand it because everything in this industry is fake. Everyone's role playing as far as I'm concerned. And I understand completely when someone's like, these guys aren't real, because 99% of the time that's the right guess. So it's like having a roulette wheel that every color is black besides one. You know, the odds are your bet's probably going to be good to go on black. But once in a while, I think something different happens. That could just be my shitty take of delusion, like I said. But I always kind of err on the side of caution that everyone's pretty justified thinking stuff's fake, because, as you know, mostly everything is.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, the best art is it flips things on themselves. So maybe they see something that's real that they perceive as fake, or they project as fake. Maybe that's actually they're saying something about themselves.
That's what I think.
Right?
Yeah. But then also things have came out, you know, in the wash, kind of, I guess, where I don't know what the example would be, but it seems like these people are real freaks for attention, which is sad, even in our industry where it's supposed to be kind of counterculture, against the grain. It's not really mainstream. We're obviously not millionaires sitting around pontificating about our next, you know, PR stunt, but it's almost like a low grade kind of, I don't know, grifter mentality where people are really freaks for attention and are trying to dream up these weird, I don't want to call them publicity stunts, but just weird shit. Everyone's, I don't know. I don't know what's going on, Garza.
No, I don't either. It's funny around the same time in our I guess you could say careers, which is strange.
Yeah.
In our path playing music, around the same time a few years ago, I was like, I want to network. You know, it's just because for the sole fact I love playing music.
Yeah.
You know, what can make me play music?
Yeah.
That's it. I really don't give a fuck about it. My main passion is heavy music and making that the best possible. That's really, and whatever I got to do to make that happen, if I got to start a fucking podcast or something, that I'm going to play music. That's it. And through networking, you know, you meet like the one of 100s. Oh, you're sick. You're real. And then you kind of just a lot of I want to use the word. I'm gonna kind of for you chameleon.
Yeah.
It's strange. And you and Gene, like you, I mean, especially where you grew up. I mean, you're talking like that probably taught you like crazy street smart and how to judge someone's character.
Yeah.
Because I mean, because your lives
kind of depend on it.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's also goes back to the answer that I just gave, kind of, even though it was a long-winded one, about knowing the difference between real shit and not real shit. And when you walk into a business situation or a band situation or a networking situation or a show or a festival or whatever you want to call it, I'm not going to say I flick my spider senses off. I don't turn them off, but they're not tingling. When someone in a band, music, whatever context does something, it doesn't really make me mad like it would if we were on the street. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
But in this context, I have a suspended belief that there is anything real is going to happen. So in that way, I don't really get mad or upset or take things personal, you know, for any of that type of stuff. Even when someone tries to get one over on you, I might sense it and be like, yeah, this ain't the guy we need to be around, but I'm not going to do anything crazy to this guy. He's just a nerd trying to do business. You know what I mean? It would be different in the street, though. You kind of have to be a little bit more aggressive in that world. Because you'll just get rolled over.
And you guys don't know how to compartmentalize to like a whole other level.
Yeah. I don't know.
To treat each scenario so different. Like you guys took it to like a next level. Because I'm 38, so I learned how to compartmentalize this year.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you, everybody.
Hey,
yes,
that's congratulations, man.
But you guys have been doing that.
I hope you do it healthy so you don't get schizophrenia like we do.
I did feel like I was turning into like a full-on like sociopath or schizo is kind of up there.
Maybe dissociative or something. Yeah, I can see how that would work if
It's
you don't
hard.
really integrate it. Yeah.
It's hard taking because you have this one area in your life where like, okay, I need to be this way so I could survive. But or this is the way things. This is real fucking life. And then this other situation. Oh, I'm just out on tour, hanging out with random people.
Nothing's gonna happen, right? It's all good. There might be a fight, but that's pretty much the extent of it.
Yeah.
I'm actually being a jackass. I was revising history a little bit. The way that thinking was that I just said, that kind of mature view that this guy in this business isn't really out, can't do me no harm or anything. We didn't really have that mentality when we first started. We were trying to ride on anyone because we didn't compartmentalize it. So I don't mean to look back with some type of revisionist history, rose-tinted kind of lenses to say, when I was in my 20s, I still was above all this stuff, because I wasn't. Yeah. It's only, like you said, integrating, kind of compartmentalizing things at 38. It's only up until recently, as I said at the beginning, that we started to be willing to talk to people and do this type of thing. It was only within the past few years. Before that, we were pretty much knuckleheads, So that was, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but it wasn't like this when we came on. When we were doing the tour that you're talking about, it wasn't. The shit wasn't very well compartmentalized. We were
telling everyone to fuck off. We weren't doing interviews. We weren't talking about what was, going on. We weren't mingling or rubbing elbows or schmoozing or whatever you want to call it. Like we weren't playing the game at all. Like we were like, we're gonna come in and do what we've always done. The same way we came in with the crew and kept to ourselves. It was just, we just took the way we were living on the road and into this industry.
Yeah. But I think getting into the present day, like right here, right now, kind of answer is, I think we've came to the understanding that things are a little bit different in this world, and we don't have to be that way, or maybe it's maturity or whatever other corny things people usually say. I'm growing and I'm learning and all that, but yeah, it's not. It wasn't always like this, I guess. So
yeah, it's like you're not at an overpass and someone's swinging a knife at you.
Yeah, that's not really the move.
Yeah, that's not something's happening.
Yeah,
I mean, and so and you said this when you walked in here, like you guys, then you guys went from that Mayhem show, and then you went on tour with fucking Korn Slipknot. Like that's my best case scenario ever
in the world, right?
And you got to do it in the States and
overseas, all the way to Australia. Yeah. It was insane.
Like when I saw that lineup, I was like, "Fuck those guys." But because I'm very like competitive. How do they get that? But that was like short lived. In like 1 second, it was like I was like, "Damn, fuck those guys." But that's sick.
Yeah.
They did it from fucking Flint.
It's pretty weird, right? I really haven't really
that's
figured that out.
Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured that out either. That was like the best thing that could have possibly happened to us, I think.
Use EMG pickups because they help you get the heaviest tone possible. Head over to emgpickups.com and use my promo code HEAVY at checkout and get 15% off. And then once you write the heaviest song of all time, head over to distrokid.com/VIP/Garza and save 30% off your membership to get all your songs on all streaming platforms, and now to the heaviest podcast of all time.
And
it took you guys 3 months to even say anything to him.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
It sucks, dude.
And I think the whole tour went by and I didn't talk to most of them, actually. Just stayed out of the way because I thought I was going to fuck something up, and these are my favorite bands. And
oh, no.
Isn't that funny?
To be fair, we were kind of doing a lot to fuck it up, too. Like,
we were still wilding, though.
Yeah,
because
we were
fucking
fucking up dressing rooms, fucking up, like, security guards and shit.
We thought we were recreating Welcome to Our Neighborhood, the Slipknot VHS. We're like, oh, yeah, you guys thought that was cool. Check this out. And they're like,
Breaking
yo,
shit,
what's wrong with you
throwing it into the
guys? We're like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, but they had to, like, expect something. They know who you are and where you're from, and they've seen the video. So like, okay, they had to expect. So they actually invited you to be.
Yeah, I think they just came from a place of concern because I remember Sean. Yeah, that's what I think it was. Yeah. It wasn't. They weren't really wondering what's wrong with us because obviously things are wrong with them too. Mm-hmm. But I remember Sean saying it one day. He's like, this ain't the path you want to go down, kind of thing. He wasn't giving me a talk like a dad talk, but he said, we went down this and path and did X, Y, and Z. I'm not going to say what he said, but he's like, you guys got to make sure you don't do what it looks like you're about to do. And I was like, yeah, okay. I don't know if I listened. And the same with Corey and Sid. Now Sid was like, no, fuck that. We got to do something, Sid is Sid. So it was cool, but I think it came from a place more of concern, not of, having learned from a few things. Mm-hmm. They would have some insight to give. Although, like I said, we never asked, not because we didn't want it. Of course, we wanted to talk and hang out with them every day because they're our favorite band, Mm-hmm. And same with Korn. But to me, it was more like imposter syndrome. Like, you don't really deserve to be here. So just stay out of the people that are actually working because you're just playing, Stay out of their way. And plus, we were getting trouble pretty much every other day. We would do something stupid.
Yeah.
Just being kids and just doing fucked up stuff.
End up in the tour manager's office like we're kids in high school, like in the principal's office about something we did to a security guard the day before, like hitting him with a piece of piano or fencing or something.
You just slice this guy's back open with a piece of fence, and he happens to be a civil attorney, and he's working security as a moonlighter.
Yeah.
And what the fuck's wrong with you guys? And it's like, tell him to go back to the attorney office. You know what I'm saying?
He shouldn't have been standing
doing the
there.
King show and shit. You know what I'm saying? Put a little protection, a little armor on, I guess, if you're working the security. Go back to the law office. But it was just stuff like that, it's just stupid kids not really knowing how things worked,
Not realizing that, like, whipping this broken drumstick into the crowd and impaling some girl in the forehead can turn into a lawsuit. Not that
this chick comes backstage with a MS2 marching stick. This isn't like your 5As or your 5Bs, because this dude's a monster. So he throws a broken stick. That's probably 2 of these. Just stuck right into a chick's face. Looked like a prosthetic. She comes back just soaked in blood. Like, I got messed up because I was staring up at the band and the lights blacked out in the arena. And when they blacked on, there's a fucking drumstick stuck in my face. And we're like, all right, that was it. Or just stupid stuff,
Do you want some merch?
You want a T-shirt? Because we're not selling any in this arena. So we'll do just going crazy and wild, Kicked it. One time I remember this I actually feel bad about. I don't feel bad about the attorney working security that got, whatever. That's a
chain link fence
man.
Fell on his head. Ooh.
Yeah, the girl getting stabbed in the face, that was a little bit rough. I remember one time I kicked a damn mic stand, which I didn't mean to do this, but I always think about this because I never found the girl. and I always kind of meant to apologize, but I had this heavy mic stand. My mic stands are like over 100 pounds. That's why I can climb all the way up them and shit, and some of them are like 175 and stuff. The plate is like a steel plate from a drag racing car, and the pipe is like an axle from the drag racing car. So this mic stand, you could climb to the top of the mic stand and stand on the top and just be good. I fucking kicked this stand so hard one time, and it went flying, and the plate at the bottom this chick was taking a photo, and it just took her head off.
Oh, no.
And I seen this video of it, because there was a video somewhere in the place, and I was like, God damn, what a jackass. Why did I do that? I didn't mean to do it. I was doing the new metal stomp or something, right? And I kicked my foot behind me, and it sent the mic stand off the stage. So it's just stupid stuff like that you would get in trouble for, or people like doing what you did, like running up on the bus or something. We used to just beat their ass. Like if someone came on, that would be to jump them.
Yeah.
But so stuff like that, you would get it was crazy that you get in trouble for that, right? It's because someone runs onto your bus and then you beat the shit out of them, and then you get busted by the tour. Like it was were you supposed to invite him down and say like, hey, you walked in, here's your drink, do a meet and greet with them. You know what I mean? They weren't, and these weren't fans or anything. It wasn't like a fan like, hey, I really love you guys and I want to meet you, because then that would be, even back then we were nice to them, but just stuff like that. You don't really think about the situation when you're in it. So we kind of caused a little bit of trouble, but after a few tours, you're kind of see how it works, I guess. And you're like, you're not supposed to do that. So now, me personally, I just stay out of everyone's business to myself. I just keep to myself and could just go stay away from everyone. Which is pretty much the same thing we started off doing.
Yeah, we were doing worse to our own guys. Like, like for somebody to like walk up on the bus or like approach us just the wrong way or whatever, it was like, dude, like on that tour, like I got in 3 different fights with our own crew.
We fought each other
dumb
because we're friends and shit. So like we'll fight each other and shit like that. It's not really a big deal. Yeah. So that really wasn't.
You got up drunk and pissed on my feet like in the middle of the night, or you like you're fucking up.
You pointed at me when you said you got up drunk. I didn't get up drunk and piss on no one. I pissed on
somebody
people's
else.
feet, but I wasn't drunk, nor did I get up.
I'm just saying somebody else in the
probably
crew.
hit him from where
like,
I was.
Like these were the things like, you're fucking up too much. Oh, you're getting too wasted. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And just regulating it within ourselves. Like that was kind of one of the things. It's like we have a crew of 15. We're out on our first major tour, and we're trying to not be the fuck ups that everyone thinks that we are.
Which is funny because we're enforcing it with violence, which is pretty hilarious. But when you're 25, you're just kind of like, this guy's going to get his ass whooped. But
and then
now we
like,
try to
do that. You can't be doing that. So
try to talk it down, I guess, or try to nip it in the bud. But
try to talk to them. That's good. It's good.
Try to have a conversation.
This is a big step forward for you guys.
It's not really hard.
And King's growing up.
Yeah, right? Yeah. We're probably getting soft. Everyone's probably talking about how we're getting soft and weird, and they miss the old days. But I don't really miss the old days. I think as long as we keep making good shit, it's all that stuff was kind of secondary and ancillary to me. I never really thought it was that important. I always thought this record is really awesome, and then when the next one came out, I was like, oh, this record is really awesome too. And then the next one and the next one. It might sound like I'm feeling myself, but that's all I really ever cared about. It's like, you can write up whatever story you want to write up, but I think we keep making good records. So it's not, I don't know. It's not just a gimmick that, I guess.
It's crazy that you guys bring up the imposter syndrome. It's very bizarre me hearing that from a band like you.
Yeah.
Where like even like these guys deal with that.
Yeah.
To the outside, we look at bands like you, like they are literally the standard and the realist. You guys are yourself. Not only that, but like behind the scenes, which is people do not realize how rare that is. A lot of people just keeping people that keep themselves, that know who they are down to their bones, and don't play the game, which
Yeah.
a lot of bands play the game, and it's very obvious.
Yeah.
Some more than others, but so even to hear you guys say that, it's like, what? Really?
Yeah.
You guys even dealt with that?
I guess this is a little caveat to the imposter. I didn't feel like an imposter, like I didn't belong on the stage with them. I felt like an imposter, like I should have. I always felt bad. I write about this in a lot of songs. It's not like I'm not going to go off on an emotional tangent.
No, this is the place for it.
Okay. I'll try to work up a few tears for
Gene's
you.
next.
Okay. But I always felt bad or like I didn't belong, but not because I knew I was born to rock and that's what I was always going to do and that's what I'm going to do regardless, and I should be on the biggest stage with the biggest bands. I knew that. I always known that. But I felt like I betray everyone by kind of leaving, because like I said, I write about it a few times, but when you succeed and no one around you succeeds, it's kind of like survivor's guilt, I guess. You go on a tour and you come back and there's 6 people dead that weren't dead when you left. You didn't go to any of their funerals. You didn't, because you were on a tour with a band, and then you start to wonder, is this really that important? Stupid band with a stupid song, with a stupid album, with a stupid tour. But that happened for years, just people dying and dying and dying and dying. And well, it didn't happen for years. It's still happening right now. That's what I feel like I was the worst with, was I'm in a place where I shouldn't be, not because I don't deserve good things, but I should be back home because maybe I could make a difference there, and I'm not making any difference here. I'm just some guy on the tour, you know what I mean? But I have these friends I'll never see again now because I wanted to go play around. It doesn't make any sense. I know there's not really a point to it, and but you know what I mean? Because it was going to happen how it was going to happen. That's like, everything happens in divine time. So that's the way it was meant to be. But I always thought imposter as in, you're a street dude. You don't need to be on a tour or playing music or what it is. You need to be back with your gang doing whatever it is, wasting your life away. But after a few years, I realized that this is where I was supposed to be, But that's kind of the imposter. I guess survivor's guilt is a better term for it, but
Survivor's guilt.
Yeah,
Wow.
just kind of that thing that's where I guess crazy. I felt the most imposter, because I was more concerned with J-Pay and Western Union's this person money. Oh, this guy went to prison for 12 years while you're away. Maybe you could have changed that. This guy just got stabbed to death or whatever it is, and he was hanging out with so-and-so that you wouldn't have really let that slide. And this guy just got shot here, and he was living at your place, so were they shooting at you? That type of thing. And he's really corny, but then we play a show, and you're kind of like, dude, fuck this show, man. I don't care about this show. You kind of want to just get on the, plane and just go home. And that's kind of where I was for about 5 years, maybe. 5 or 6 years, yeah. Probably 7 years, maybe, actually. The first few records, I was just like, what am I doing here? You're just kind of lying to yourself, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I thought about, the band. I wonder if both of your personalities and your lifestyle back home, I was wondering, like, if they weren't in the band, I wonder if they would be dead.
Yeah. For me, yeah. 100%. Because I'm positive of it. I could, yeah, I'm sure of it. I'm positive.
What about you, Eugene?
I just can't really imagine a life outside of this. Like, I don't see that picture. I don't see it going anywhere. I don't see my life really going, anywhere. I mean, I was kind of trying to do more of the right thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to stay out of the streets a bit. Tried college. Did okay academically.
Playing ice hockey.
But but when I realized I wanted to do this, it was like the you kind of try to see the future if you're like your path, what you're going to go down, how your life's going to play out, whatever. And just, there was no other picture, you know? I think this thing has kept us alive one way or another, whether it be out of the streets or dealing with depression, you know, stuff like you said, like, man, all those, like, those first few years, first few tours, losing people and not being able to do a damn thing about it, you know, getting a call at 3 a.m. that, you know, one of my lifelong best friends' little brother got shot delivering pizzas and having to fucking play a show the next day.
It's
like
just
it
weird
fucking
because you're
mattered.
never really doing that. We're always at home, you know what I mean? So if something was happening, when you get the call, you can go into action, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you get a call and you're in Australia, it's kind of like, you can't just being in the city your whole life. You could always be, you're kind of in the mix, you know, you can always be in the mix. It was just, I guess, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's the same for both of us, but it's the first time that we were away. We weren't world travelers before being in the band. We didn't have passports and all this other shit. We didn't have, you know, I come from a family that never took a single vacation. So it wasn't like we were doing things in the world and then, you know, this was just another thing that we did. We were always available, eternally available to people in the city, but then we weren't.
So to kind of circle back, like, I think in a way this has kept us alive, or, you know, I may have ended up dead, because if I would have been home to get news like that, I would have been in the streets looking for somebody.
Yeah.
And I would have just gotten myself into some shit I didn't need to get into, because anything I would have done wasn't going to bring that person back, you know? But that's not how we think back home, you know? Mm-hmm. When you're there and the shit's popping off, like you said, you jump into action. But being on the road, it's like, you know, you're in this world where people don't react like that at all. Mm-hmm. Other people aren't beating their friends' asses over, you know, disagreements or slighting somebody, or, you know, any kind of wrongdoing. Any kind of wrongdoing. You just kind of either look the other way or you handle it another way. You probably handle it a more mature and responsible way. But in those years, that wasn't the mentality at all. So at least at that point in time in our lives, it probably would have went the other way had we been home, you know. Probably wouldn't have made it.
That was my plan anyway. I was just going to be trying to be gangbanging until death. I didn't have never had
a long-term plan.
Yeah, there was no plan for me. I was just in this stuff. That's my family and that's my friends, you know, so I'm not just like some asshole kid, you know. These were the people that I was raised by, so that's what I was going to do anyway. And I didn't try my hand at trying to be a productive member of society ever. So unless I had to because of a probation or a house arrest or something like that, you know. But yeah, I think it was always supposed to work out like this. I think we were always supposed to come out the other end. Not that we're out the other end, but we're moving through some type of corridor. And now I just accept the things for what they are. And I just kind of know that I am supposed to be around doing whatever it is I'm doing, you know. I don't have any guilt or anything about that, or any shame or anything. Just kind of let it go.
So that's how you deal with survivor's guilt. You accept things for like what it is, you know?
Yeah, you just kind of got to get in touch with yourself. It took a few years, but because I've always been into things, you know, like meditation and yoga. I got into yoga because I was fighting, but I wanted to be flexible enough to kick someone's head off. But then I realized that it had other benefits and stuff like that. And so
a few other ones.
Yeah, so just getting in touch with yourself and kind of going inside, you start to find answers that you don't necessarily need to go outside to find. You don't necessarily have to pontificate. There's a cool saying that it says, the brain thinks, but the heart knows. So if you kind of find a way to get there. Yeah, I think that's the answer. So I started looking that way. And things kind of became a lot clearer, and I wasn't very confused, and I didn't have these types of guilt or shame kind of structures happening. So escaping that was a big deal. And then I think the music kind of is going along in that direction as well. And it was always there. I mean, since I was a kid, it's like a 12-year-old Wiccan worshiping nature and stuff. But it's kind of been less superficial. You know, the first record, Memoirs of a Murder, is like a memoir. So that's what that was. And it was not superficial in a shallow way, but superficial as in talking a lot about worldly matters, societal matters and stuff. But I think with every progressive record, it gets more and more into the spirit. And that's kind of the direction that it's heading, is inward, kind of to the heart. So I don't even know what I was just talking about as far as the question that was asked.
No, you got no. I'm just letting, because I know. Well, this is also one of my questions. We could go into it right now, because you're very stream of consciousness, kind of guy. So you don't write lyrics.
Not really.
No, and so you were really into reading books, like you're talking 1 to 3 a week. Like you going to a diner for 12 hours with just pots and coffee, or going, or it seems like you really found your sanctuary at the library.
Yeah,
and you just go there and just read. So I was curious, like, how did? Because maybe I would assume you're inspired by like Jay-Z or like Lil Wayne, like how you're just going to go in to write songs and then you're not going to write anything down. And you already done research on long-term memory and then reciting poems, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was kind of obvious because we can all remember the songs we like. So you just have to kind of write a song you like, and it becomes really easy. I know that sounds funny and stupid, but there's a reason why all the Eastern wisdom, not that I'm an Eastern guru, but it's like 4 words and it's common sense, and we're like, yeah, we all know that. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't really need to get more complicated than that. If you can write a good song that you like, you could probably memorize your own song more than you can probably memorize Taylor Swift's, you know? So maybe if you can't memorize your song, that ain't the one. You should let that one go.
If you can't memorize it, then maybe instinctually, like, okay, maybe this doesn't have like the weight.
I think so, because when I was a kid, it was just necessity. I didn't carry around a pen and notepad or whatever trying to look for lyrics. You know, I was living in a dumpster behind Little Caesars, waiting for them to throw out their orders. So that really wasn't on my bucket, on my list of things to do. So I would just try to write songs that I could remember. I also had all the time in the world on my hands, so I could repeat them so much that I could remember them, and then maybe fool myself into thinking they were so good, they were catchy, but really they were just drilled into my brain. But yeah, I've heard that from a bunch of people actually. Sia, the singer Sia, she'll write for 60 minutes, and if there's nothing to remember, there's nothing to remember. But I'm not very precious with my stuff. I sit down to write every day, but if I lose something, if I don't put it down, if I don't keep track of it, because I don't keep track of anything really that well, I'm not really that stressed about it, because I know it'll come back, or it'll find me when it's supposed to find me, kind of thing. I don't have this famine mentality where I try to strangle ideas because I just thought of the next world life-changing song or anything. I just let things go that need to kind of just let stuff pass through me, I guess, if that makes sense. And it'll come back around if it's supposed to come back around.
So you have the lyrics, the concept, even the patterns. Is this all playing in your mind?
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
That's where the schizophrenia comes in, I think.
Yeah. It's something.
It's pretty cool. I don't think about it any other way, though. I can't imagine, this might sound like I'm dissing other people, but there's no way in hell I would ever be in a group that wrote a piece of music and said, put lyrics to this. That's never going to, that is fuck that. I'm not being in your group if you do that. Because that you're, do not pass go, do not collect $200 with that.
So when you say writing, okay, so you're writing for 60 minutes. What are you doing?
Coming up with everything that has to be came up with.
Are you just sitting down and
getting out
thinking?
of the way? Because sometimes walking. Sometimes walking. Yeah, when I say writing, I don't really mean writing. I mean getting out of the way. That's the only way I can put it.
Getting out of the way?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Just letting stuff come.
So you
like right now, we sat down to have a podcast. We know that's what we're doing, and you and I are on the same page, and we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
I sit down to write without a pen or anything, and an intention or any type of preconceived notion or goal or whatever it is, and just move my ego, stupid self out of the way, and let something come. Because that's, I think, the way ideas work. Obviously, we all know that ideas aren't really stored in our brains. We just get access to them. And I think if you can get out of the way, things will come. And everything's special individually, but also there's a reason why many different people across the world have the same idea at the same time. It's just...
Well, yeah, I've always wondered, what is that?
I think the ideas are just floating around. And if you can get out of the way, then you find a way to interpret them or find a way for them to pass through you. I think that's the way it works. I don't believe I came up with any ideas. I don't believe you did either. No offense, but I just don't. That's not the way things work.
No, I'm still trying to process that. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
Or similar to if you're thinking about someone, they'll text you, or if you're if you have an idea, you see like someone else do it, like very, very, like the timeline is very close. You're like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
The goofballs and the intellectual disease that they might have in science and determinism and materialism, they'll just call it coincidence because that's the God that they worship is coincidence. But no, I think all the ideas are somewhere, and we just have temporary access to them, and it's up for us to seize them. You might have an idea for a world-changing invention, and you didn't seize it. But when someone else gets access to that idea, they seize it, then they change the world. It doesn't have to be changing the world. It can just be a song, like "Stairway to Heaven." That's kind of what Robert Plant said. He's sitting there for a minute, and then he woke up, and it was on the page, kind of thing. I think that's really how inspired stuff comes. I think when you try, it's just not. That's not it.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to work together to have some intentions and stuff like that, but getting out of the way is my most useful thing, I guess.
Getting out of the way. We're always in our own way.
Yeah,
we're always in our own way. So that's a great way to put that.
I don't think there's any thinking involved in creativity or inspiration. I don't think it comes from the brain. It's the brain, again, just thinks. No one. It's just not how it works.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, they call that the reasoning mind.
Yeah,
right?
The rational mind.
Yes, and that's the death of some pretty sick shit.
I think so. I think, creativity is not really supposed to be rationalized. I think rationalize is actually an insult. So, I don't. It's just not how I do it. So thinking about things, it's more than lyrics. I guess it'd be when I start to think about a song, I consider almost like a clay pottery wheel where you're trying to mold the character, the identity of the song. Not me saying lyrics, not my own character or my own personality, but you're trying to find the character of the song, like the color of the song or the movie of the song or the texture or what it might feel like or smell like or sound like or the proprioception of the song or the kinetic energy of the song. So you're trying to build this character before you're making a noise or playing around on your stupid instrument or doing your voice or whatever, or writing your little dumb words. You're trying to find a personality, I guess, a character worth writing about. And I don't mean character as in a thing, a person, place, or thing, like a noun. I mean character as in a thing to express or explore. And that takes more work to me than trying to pen some lyrics or write some notes. Finding that thing or letting that thing come to you. The notes and the words are the absolute easiest thing. Those come in 5 minutes. It's everything else. I'd rather sit for 55 minutes and just try to get a clear head than try to crank out some verbiage, you know.
Whoa. I don't know where to go with that. I never heard someone's process like that.
Really?
No. I mean you mentioned that so King started in December 2007, correct?
Sure.
Okay,
Dude, you
cool.
must have been reading a lot of shit about this band because you keep saying shit that I forgot.
Nobody gets that right. Yeah, nobody really knows that. I mean, because we actually existed as a band for like 6 months before we even played our first show, and our first show was in the living room of a crack house.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. So King starts that year. The following month, January in 2008, your unit gets raided, and then that's supposedly when you write the first King song.
Yeah.
Correct. And what you guys didn't go too far into it, like, because it said that that's one of the best things that could have happened to you. Why?
Yeah. So I think sometimes you're just supposed to. It's kind of like getting out of the way. I think sometimes, not sometimes, all the time, stuff is being shown to you that you need to pay attention to, which is why you should try to keep a quiet mind. And I think if you ignore that enough, it's going to force itself on you. You know what I mean? I think I was trying to be shown something repeatedly, and I wasn't listening. So there's like, I'm going to sit you down then, and so you can't do anything but listen, right? I think that's the truth. That I've had that happen to me a zillion times, and then I realize when it's usually always involves a slowing of down of something. I think if you can't, I think again, you're always being shown something, and I think there's always a clear path in front of you. I think you're the only one that complicates your own path, which is fine because we all do it. Mm-hmm. And I don't have all the answers either, but I think if you don't listen to the cues and the serendipities and the synchronicities and the signs of the universe that they're trying to give to you, I think they get more aggressive, and then they force you to listen, you know? And that's what that was. That was a sit down. You're going to have to pay attention because you're going to be put into a solitary confinement, and you're not going to have any other choice. And you might, think you're cool for a day or two, but I'm going to sit you there long enough to where you understand that this is what you need to understand. And I've been trying to show it to you, but you weren't listening. And so now, not since then, because I always make errors and mistakes and all this stuff, but I try to be more aware of, I believe the universe starts off in the most subtle way, and so you should be sensitive to that. Mm-hmm. And I try to not let it get to the extreme part, or where it comes into tragedy and death and stuff like that, or massive setbacks, because it doesn't have to come to that. Mm-hmm. If you're just a little bit aware and sensitive to the environment, I think you could pick up on a lot of things that you could otherwise prevent, a lot of tragedies and disasters for yourself, maybe for others too. I don't know. I don't think people have much to do with other people, but I'm just talking about for my own personal thing, Mm-hmm. I think I was sat down because I had to sit down, and that was what it was. Getting mad about it is like the wrong answer, That's what people usually do. Any emotional reaction that you have is kind of the wrong thing. If your reaction is emotion, that's not a reaction, because it's not a plan. An emotion is just an emotion. So it's okay to feel these types of things about this stuff, but if you get sat the fuck down and being pissed off is the result, you're going to be there for a long time. And if you get let out, you're going right back in. That's how it works. That's just talking about jail. We don't have to talk about jail at all. We can be talking about anything in life, you know? It could be a job or a relationship or a hobby or a whatever. I mean, you know how it is. You know, you guys had suicide silence. Allow me to flip. Let me take control of this whole podcast. You know, you guys had Mitch and everything, and these things happen, and I'm sure you sat and thought, what? Why did this happen? There doesn't have to be an answer, but where would it have went otherwise, or what? It sounds callous to say, but what good has came, or what did I learn, or what am I privy to, or how did this change my own trajectory, which also sounds selfish, but I don't think it is. I think it's, what did this kind of bestow upon me, or what did I learn, or why did this happen? And if you start to think about it, you start to find these strange things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that's your own thing.
You literally said every thought has sat down for a long period of time through a course of years.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause different moments you could spare some time to sit and think or walk.
Yeah.
All these questions kind of flood in when, you know, you just reminded me. Yeah, you just give room.
Yeah.
Give room to things where they're just in your subconscious to start to flood out.
Or they'll come up completely unannounced. You'll be sitting there one
Sure.
day and then something comes. You're like, I think in moments like that, you should stop and kind of think, that came for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just for me to have a chuckle. It was, I should think about this some more, maybe.
It's hard to make time. Well, it's not hard, but it's actually not hard. It's just, you just have to force your fucking stupid body just to sit and do nothing.
It's a little
Just
counterintuitive the way that they got things set up with, you know, you got the phone and you got
everything's
the
the opposite.
internet and you got the whatever, and it's all kind of instant gratification, and it's all like very low hanging fruit.
I find myself trying to do things. I'm just slowly deleting apps or just slowly doing things that I used to do on the phone. Just simple stuff like, you know, I always use my timer on the phone to make me coffee in the morning.
Okay.
So, but that's like you time. I'm on my phone during my time. That's not good. So little things added up. Like, okay, I'll get a fucking actual timer.
Yeah.
And
it does. And
it helps.
You have to
it helps.
It does help. The phone is so pervasive, and it's kind of played out. Everyone's talking about it. It's actually sad because everyone knows that it's a joke, but everyone partakes in it. You'll find that the phone somehow has worked its way into everything, you know.
Everything.
Making a coffee and doing whatever, it somehow became included in being the timer, which, you know, on the other hand, it's useful and convenient and everything, but convenience is not the God we should be worshiping. You know, convenience is actually like a subtle way to die, you know.
Fuck. That's it. Boom. That's good. Well, let's get back to King. So you met so you were jamming in a venue, and then eventually Gene walks in, right?
Kinda. I don't know who was there first. The first time I ever met this dude, I told this story before, but
we have different sides of this story, but I'll let him tell his.
okay.
Okay.
I liked this chick. I was out of school. I didn't have to go to school. No one made me go to school. I was completely unsupervised, and I had my parents, my family, they were kind of absent, so I could just do whatever I wanted. And I didn't go to school. I was a teenager, and I liked this chick that went to his school, so I'm just a scrub. I would pop up at the lunch break. It was the lunch break or something, where they would let the kids outside, the recess or whatever. Yeah. I would pop up to hang out with the chick because I didn't go to that school. I didn't go to that school ever. But I would go to see her, and I would peep Gene around the yard. It was like a building with a yard in the middle, Gene around the yard. But we didn't really hang out or talk very much. I was just coming to hang with the girl. I was there for strictly business. You know, wanted to hang out, and I didn't have any. wasn't like networking. I still wasn't networking then. So I was just coming to see, and then I would kind of dip. I don't know what his side of the story is, but
Yeah, he didn't have any business there. He was over there at my school. She was the new chick to the school too. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's talking about like, oh, who's the new girl? Who's the new girl? Whatever.
course.
And then like before anybody could even take a crack at her, here's this guy just posted up by the tree outside, just being all cool, like cool, mysterious goth kid.
I was cool Dick Willie too. They would get let out for their recess. I was already there.
Yeah.
Posted up on the tree like, what's going on, baby? That type of thing. But I was just I wasn't really cool Dick Willie because I was gothed out to the nines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like Manson and all that type of era where, like I said, I was like a teenage witch. So I was just in that mode where I was just looking pretty fucking wild. But Gene was looking wild too. That's why I noticed it because, goths kind of always, goths, they're always looking for the next goth to call a poser. So I was always kind of peeping game, but I was also trying to hang out with the chicks, because I wasn't really a typical goth. I loved fighting still, and I loved to get into fights, and just because I was stupid and had problems, so I tried to just take them out on other people. Mm-hmm. And fighting girls, jamming, rocking, whatever.
Not fighting girls.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm not. I wasn't.
Don't get that sound bite. It's like fighting girls.
Because I said fighting girls. Yeah. But it was fighting, comma, or fuck it, put a semicolon, and then girls, and then another semicolon.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I seen Gene, but I didn't really talk to him or even bother because I was doing that. But then I went to this club downtown to watch shows, and I was very young, 13 or 12 or something, and Gene went to the same place and knew kind of some of the same people. I think it was.
It was kind of, it was that girl that kind of
was
like,
the girl?
she was like, oh, I'm going down to, she was the one that got me to go down to the local. She's like, oh, you should come down to the local, like whatever. I didn't even know about it. You know what I'm saying? At this point in my life, like I'm just finding my own music because I grew up listening to what my uncles and my mom and my grandmother listened to, and everything's very mainstream, whatever. And then, stuff like Rage and Korn and Limp Bizkit come out, and that's what I'm gravitating towards. And then this chick, who I talked to and has common interests is like, oh, you should come down to the local. So I go down there, and this is like my first experience in the local music scene. And then I see this fucking guy.
Because I was down there trying to secure the chicks too.
Right.
So I was trying to secure a lot of shit around town.
And my attitude was like yours, so that you said earlier about us getting the Slipknot and Korn tour, and you're like, fuck those guys, because I want to be, that's what, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, fuck this guy, because like he's out here macking at my school, and like, and he seems cool, like he's got out, like, yeah, I want to call him a poser, but his shit is legit, Because
I got the white powder face looking like the Crow.
Duct tape in his hair and shit. And I'm like,
I got long duct tape dreads down to my shoulders, and my shit's like black and white beaded out, and I'm just,
let's go.
Everyone's a poser to me, I'm looking like Manson himself just on a regular Tuesday, and I'm like in the craft thinking my whole life is, I'm worshiping trees and shit and doing all this other shit. So I'm like, everyone's a poser. I'm the man. Although I know that's not true, just for the record. But that's kind of was my attitude, was like, I'm going to live this shit out. I always say kind of like in The Sandlot. In The Sandlot, the movie where the Mexican kid is the one that goes pro. And he's like the best one. He's always like focused. I always thought my shitty friend group was just a bunch of degenerate reprobates. I was always like, I always felt like I was that guy, even though, again, I don't think I'm cool or nothing. I was just thinking, you guys are dicking around, partying, drinking, doing drugs, doing whatever. I'm going to the big leagues. I'm the Mexican guy, although that's obviously not true. That's going to go pro. You know what I'm saying? And the rest of the kids, they kind of grow up and get jobs. And I was thinking, not me. You can do all this stupid shit. You can have these girlfriends. You can have this, these shitty job, this shitty life that you want. And if you want it, that's cool. But you can make all these compromises and you can go party, go to college or whatever. But I am here to rock. So I was that's why I was so goth and shitty, and I thought everyone was a poser because they were like going to school, and I'm like, school? Who the hell went to school? We were supposed to be rocking, you know what I mean? I'm like in the D. Snyder video. I want to rock, and everyone else was just part time. I thought, but I was also delusional because I was 13. So why wouldn't I be delusional?
But he had the right idea, and that kind of gravitated me towards him. Like I saw that, like like this guy's. I'm just starting to. Not only am I just getting in the local music scene, but I'm starting to. I picked up a guitar. Like my uncle left some old dusty, crusty guitar, when he moved out, and I take it and pick it up, and I just start doing whatever I can with it. For the first year of my even playing an instrument, I didn't have like an amp or anything, barely had strings on the fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like trying to play Seek and Destroy. And
then we started playing together shortly after.
We were
trying to
let's
work
start
at
a
the
band.
place. We were both. I was trying to work at the place because I was trying to go to every show for free. We get $20, and they were paying $20. So I was like, I need that 20
to run some cables, be a little stage manager.
Yeah, and so he was doing the same thing, and so we both ended up working there. But then we started jamming, and this is like a recap because I realize we're taking a 10-minute answer to something so simple, but.
And that's what we're supposed to do here.
Okay. Well, a few years. Yeah, it was a few years. We were just jamming together, and I was so poor. I was living in the place without them knowing. We had a practice space that we got in their damn basement or something.
Yeah,
and I low-key brought a microwave. I was down in that bitch with pizza rolls, living in there with no house. Yeah. And I'm like, well, if I can live in the practice space, my shit's going to be way more dope because everyone else goes home after the show and I'm dragging amps up to the stage. There's no one even there, right? It's closed. I'm popping the PA, blowing out speakers, turning it on when no one's there. I'm rocking a show on stage with no one in the venue at 2 a.m. thinking, I'm playing Cold Chamber and shit, pantomiming, thinking like, then I'm going to go talk to the crowd, which I obviously didn't do very well at because I don't talk to the crowd, but I would do this for like years. And then I'd lug it all back down. I don't know why I brought all the gear up the stairs, by the way, because it was just, I would set up keyboards and shit and drum sets, like running like a real stage and rock it all night. I'm like, if I rock this bitch all night, I'm going to be way better than these guys. These guys are going home. They probably eating dinner and shit. I got a bag of pizza rolls. I'm going to rock this bitch all night. And I would do that, and then we kind of made a band, and it sucked. and then we made like another one, and it sucked. Yeah. And our band sucked forever, for at least a decade. Yeah. But we played hundreds of shows, which is pretty rare these days. I notice people get in bands and without doing anything now. Yeah. It's pretty weird.
We were really grinding it out, and we always stuck together through it all. Through all these other bands, it was always like, hey, I'm gonna do this thing, or I'm linking up with these guys, like, you want to come, or that was the deal, like, oh, like you want me to play with you guys, well, he's got to come too.
Yeah, that was the deal when I came into the band. I was like, I got this friend Gene, he's got to be in this band. I'm not going to be in the band alone with you nerds. And so that was how we made this band. Yeah. And it's been ever since. Pretty cool.
When did Roadrunner come into picture?
About 6 years later, maybe around 13-ish.
Yeah, 2013. We started talking to them 2013, even though we didn't really break out until 2014. Like,
I think we signed a deal in 13.
Yeah,
and then we kind of low-key for about a year
doing our I think they kind of wanted to wait and see what we would do in a year, make sure we wouldn't like get killed or something.
Yeah, because they made us get health insurance and shit because I was getting shot and lying to them that I was not telling them, and then they would find out, and they're like, "Yo, what are you doing?" And I'm like,
"I got lead poisoning."
I got poisoning or something. I would just say some goofy shit, and they're like, "Yo, you're getting shot and shit, and you're signed to us." But really, I should have just been like, I don't give a fuck. Do you care? Do you think I care about the Russian billionaire that owns your label? You know what I mean?
Wow.
But at the same time, I kind of understand they're trying to get their investments in order. But they're like, yo, you guys don't have insurance. We got to get you insurance. And then when I see the statement, I'm like, take me off this insurance, man. I ain't paying this damn funny monopoly money for this, enforced scam of the quasi-governmental organization that is insurance agencies. But yeah, it was all that stuff. So then around 13, we recorded our record with our friend, which was pretty cool. They let us do anything we wanted, really. Hats off to them. Yeah. They were worried about us getting shot and shit like that, but that's kind of a given. But
they would try to guide us, and they would, impart some wisdom of how the industry works and everything. But yeah, they gave us kind of free reign to just do what they signed us for.
It was cool. They let us record a record with someone that had no track record at his house, at his apartment.
They're like, "Ooh, don't you want to work with this guy? Don't you want to?"
Naming all these big names.
Yeah, every big name in metal.
So we're meeting all these jokers, and it's like, no, this guy's a dweeb. You think I care about this?
This guy's talking about settings.
Yeah, he wants to make a new preamp or some shit. I'm like, I'd rather hang out with this Canadian guy, which is sad, I know, but he's awesome. He's one of our closest friends. I believe he's a member of the band.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he knows that yet, and he's definitely not getting any publishing, but he is. And so they let him do the record, which is awesome. He's done every record we've done. And
yeah, Josh Schroeder is a G, man.
Yeah, he's
cool.
The best. I don't want to make a record with anyone else, so.
We always bust his shit about the house the King built, because now he does
every
Lorna Shore. He does just all these huge things, and it's like, oh yeah, everybody wants to come to you because they want that King sauce.
Yeah, everyone's trying to be like King, even though we're not even successful.
Right.
Like, everyone's trying to sound like King. Everyone wants to be like King. Yeah, that's why we're trying to get discounts, and we're trying to get little rebates from Josh. I'm like, I'm trying to print off a rebate and have him sign it for free studio time because I've single-handedly fielded 36 projects of his, and they don't want to admit it, and neither does he, but I know I'm the real source of this shit because I got the sauce and the juice that they're never going to be able to find in those settings and those dials. You're just not going to get it, and he's got to give me a rebate, and he's got to give us both a promo code and smash that like button and subscribe, and we need a discount on this studio time because I know damn well these kids are recording these albums in their rooms, and the jig's up. I half the time feel like it's the Truman Show. When you go to Josh's house, all that shit, that's fugazi. If you lean on it, it just falls down because it's fake. It's like interfaces and all that shit. I see you got a real one right there flashing real lights. His shit is just a poster board with a fake Furman and a fake distressor. And I know if I punch it, it'll just break like a piece of paper. And the jig is up. You might be able to get that Lorna Shore money and all that other shit you're doing over there. You might be able to do that. I'll point at all you cameras. You're not hitting this lick on us. We need rebates, and I need promo codes, and punch in for half off Black Friday.
When you rebates and promo codes, stab.
Because but it's too much. It's too much, man. Prices need to go down. Okay, have you ever heard of a recession? You know what I mean? I'm waiting for these engineers to recess. I'm waiting for these promoters to recess. You know what I mean? I know you didn't ask anything about that, but I'm trying to get
the ball busting.
I'm trying to get a promo.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
get a rebate.
Okay.
I'm trying to get you one too, man. So don't worry. It's for both.
Throwing one extra.
Yeah,
I would appreciate that.
We need a discount because
you.
This shit ain't free.
No.
We got candles over here, and this shit is burnt all the way down.
It is.
And this shit's expensive. We need more wax.
Give my man some new candles, please.
You know what I mean? It's Kurt, we're not going to throw it out or anything, but we do need some new shit, and this shit's getting tough.
We need new shit here. Totally.
Yeah.
I need like a life promo code.
Yeah, we need a discount, so I know you're listening.
Garza needs his shit.
Josh. I need my shit.
And Garza needs to and you need to do a record for free for Garza.
I appreciate that, man.
See
Thank
that?
you. So this goes back to how you come up with songs. So obviously there's Roadrunner involved, Josh. I was curious your perspective, Gene. So okay, we're gonna do like this record. We're getting out of Flint, like it's happening. And this dude walks in with no lyrics.
Oh, I was already used
What
to
do you?
it. I've been knew what was up.
So it wasn't
knew
even
was
like
up.
you were already used to this.
This wasn't the first time. Hell no. Like, bro, I remember this guy. One time he tried to keep a notebook. Lost that motherfucker on left it on the roof of the fucking van
Remember
or
what I
some
was
shit.
saying that
just gone.
It teaches you what to do, what not to do, get out and out of the way in the universe and the stuff like that. I had this notebook. I was like, look at this, is cool. I got a notebook where I'm keeping all the files, and I'm saying, wrote the whole album, right?
The first album.
Wrote the whole first album. And one time I was leaving somewhere, and I set it on the roof of a car and drove off, and that was the end of it. So the whole album is gone. And then I was like, that's kind of like going to jail or whatever it might be. This is a little bit more of a user-friendly scenario, but that was when I realized, you don't get a notebook, dude. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to have a notebook. You got a notebook between the ears, and that motherfucker has more pages than any notebook on earth. And that's free to carry around. So I was thinking, no, never again. I'm not losing papers and shit, you know. That's not the way. That's not the answer. So I just didn't do it.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, you know, and now I'm in for the surprise, you know. I mean, we talk about, you know, shit, you know, what's going to go on, whatever, but like there was always something magical. I mean, it still is now, but you know, especially on that first record, when the tracking's there, you know, we've got the song, what it's going to be. We know what it's going to be. We've demoed it. We've practiced it, everything, whatever. But when we track it and he goes in to track the vocals and you hear that first take, that first boom, he hits it. It's like there's something magical that happens in there, partly because he's just fucking good, and partly because you don't know. You don't even know if he knows what's going to flow out of him when he goes in there.
Of course, I'll say I do know.
Of course you do.
Right.
But I don't really know if that's true. Once
So
again,
The song's done.
just show up.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll say that, and it will be when I go in there, but it's not always true that it's done.
funny little anecdote. So we did a demo before that album, before Midwest Monsters, actually, which was an EP we did, you know, in the very early stages of the band with the only thing we did with like another guy. And it was just kind of like that was what Roadrunner found us from, was the Midwest Monsters EP. And we just kind of did that, as like, we didn't have anything physical, no physical music out there. So we're like, you know, we've been playing these shows, playing 100 shows for you know, all our shitty friends and stuff. Like, we need to give them something to jam. So we did. So we
our
did this
friends
demo.
need this shit.
Yeah, our friends
so
need
they
their shit
need
too.
something put in their CD player because they just stole a car and it has a Pioneer and you can put a disc in there. So we need to create this disc.
Yeah. So we did this demo for Dragging Knives and Brahma, and I was in the like room with him. He's doing vocals in this room, and I was in there like recording him, because back then, even though we were trying to get like all this footage and stuff, like, because we always want to make the cool, you know.
It was also pretty crazy because you remember back then, because we're the same age.
2010.
This shit was like special. You know, if you were going to the studio, you didn't have one in your room. You were paying probably a lot. That's why we need these rebates.
The rebates.
You were paying a lot then, and it was a big deal, and you didn't have any money. And so you scraped together this money, and you're like, yeah, we're going to do something. You thought you were important and cool, and everything was going to be cool. So we were trying to get, nowadays they just get content. We were trying to be like, this is it. You know, this is like VH1 behind the music. We were so delusional. But yeah,
Right. It's Philadelphia. It's every, you know,
right,
it's
right.
all the
We're just
things
making shit up.
But I'm in the room with him when he's recording Brahma, the demo version, for the first time, man. And I'll never forget it, dude. This guy stripped down to his fucking underwear. He's got the fuck, I don't even know what that mic was. He's got it in his hand.
Piece of shit.
He's not, you know what I'm saying? He's not doing it like just standing there like, you know, like a professional. He's running around the room like a fucking madman. He's beat fucking red, looking like a demon. There was just like an energy in that room that I've honestly never felt. Not to like bullshit, gas him up, like whatever. Like, no, like that. And that was like a real, like, that was the first. There was some other king shit, but like that was like the first, like, this is us, this is it, this is what it's gonna be, what we're gonna be. And that fucking feeling in that room, man, was like electric. I also don't sit in the room with him when he does vocals anymore.
You don't?
Because there was something else present. There was something else present.
I like to do a little ritual beforehand, which I won't do here, but obviously, because I'm not trying to turn your studio into a fucking freak factory. But
that's the name of the studio. This is the Freak Factory.
yeah,
Thanks,
There's
man.
a
I
little-
appreciate that.
it's free.
Yeah.
You see that? It's free. I just got out of the way.
By the way,
Freak
it just
Factory.
came to.
But yeah, that's it. And
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, so there was an energy in that room, man, that was just otherworldly,
What? Yeah. What?
just powerful. Like
God or like evil? Or both?
nothing.
This
It didn't have. It
there's
wasn't.
no orientation.
Yeah, it
It's
wasn't.
non-binary.
Yeah,
No,
it wasn't like. Yeah, it wasn't like. It wasn't. It didn't make. It wasn't like a fear or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like it didn't feel like malevolent, nor did it feel benevolent. It was just an energy in the room with us that I was just like. I walked out and I was just like, I've never experienced anything like that in my life, and now like I trusted him before, you know, always trusted him with my life. This is my best friend, it's my brother. Like, anytime since we were kids, we first met, he said, "Yo, we're about to go fucking hit a lick on this K-Mart," and I went.
Man, I don't know why I did that.
So
I
I'm just
seen
like,
him walking down the street one day, and I was like, "Yo," which he was pretty good. You know, he was sticking out of trouble and shit, and not doing anything crazy at the time.
but I was always ready to go at a moment's
But he was
notice.
ready to go for some reason. I don't know why. I should have never did this, but I was a teenager. And me and my crew, we're going to rob the Kmart. So we're like, are you in or not? I don't know why we asked this. We didn't need extra people. We had the crew. We were assembled. We were going to do this. We're like, this is what you do. Maybe I did have a little bit of reservation because I was like, listen, man, we're going to rob the Kmart. Your job is to, and we talk about this not because it's cool. It's not cool.
Yeah, don't do this
we
shit.
got
This is
busted.
so stupid.
It's also funny to say because we got busted doing it. So like when you read the book and you're like, there's all this shit in there that's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
We got busted doing everything. So
Yeah.
I'm not really saying it to be cool or that that's the answer. It's because not. Obviously, if you want to be anything like me, you got problems. So I'm just saying it because
there's real consequences and it sucks. Like,
also because it's sort of like public record. You know what I mean? We went to jail for all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not. I'm not like outing the criminal lifestyle. It's also not very serious. So we're going to rob the Kmart, and we see him just walking down the street or driving, and we're like, "This is what you do. You walk in. You know when you go to a grocery store, when you walk in the entrance, it has automatic doors, and you come in, but the exit is a one-way automatic. Like you can't go in the exit because it doesn't open. You have the registers there blocking.
Yes.
So I was like, this is what you need to do. You need to act like you're entering so we can exit without having to leap over the counter, the line with the cashier, whatever that's called, the thing, the checkout.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you walk in right when you see us coming, we're gonna get right out that entrance and we're gonna be gone. So we jacked the Kmart.
you're so dumb. I know what you're going to say, dude.
This shit is fucking Three Stooges. Me and my boys hauling ass. We're flying out the damn thing. He walks in right on time. They don't know he's with us. That was the plan. The plan is you act like you're just some customer coming in. We blow by him, and he's like, "What the hell?" kind of thing. Then they don't even chase him. This dude is mentally retarded. He took off running like he was one of the guys.
I couldn't leave my boys. I couldn't leave my boys. I was going to
The
have to
whole
run
plan
too.
was like, yo, when you walk in, you act like you're just some customer, and you just set off the door for some thieves, and you just play your part. That's your character, right? Yeah. And he changed his whole character arc live.
That shit went out the door as soon as I seen him and his brother come running out of the door. I was like, all right, we're gone. Like,
And we were hauling ass. And this is where this Three Stooges shit comes in. A cop was parked outside on a break. She was on a break or some shit. And we run right across the front of her car. And security's chasing us, the security from the Kmart or whatever it might be. And I'm running miles. I'm like, I ain't going back to, I'm getting away. You guys might be getting caught. And I look over, I see him running across the street. I'm like, what the fuck is he trying to run for? He's fucking up the plan. I see him getting busted. And then I look back, my brother's punching the security guy in the face. His idea was, I can just beat their ass, you know, because a lot of people, when they're doing something wrong, you know, you're doing something wrong and you know it's wrong, so you run. My brother's not like that. He's like, if security chases me, I'm turning around and clocking them, letting them know, like, I can't be chased. So he did that. He did that move. So he's beating their ass. And the security guards are getting their ass whooped. I'm getting away with one of my other friends. And then the cop comes and I don't know, someone must have called for backup or something, because I turned around and see my brother getting arrested. And the security guy's running around with little knots on his head. And I'm like, oh, my brother got arrested. And we don't even have a house. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go back, because this fool, I'm gonna lose him if I don't go back. I don't even know what's going on. Gene's running around. They got these sirens and shit. It's a whole funny story. And I'm like, my other friend, me and him are running. I was like, yo, just keep going. I'm gonna go back, because they got my brother, and I don't even know how he's going to handle it or whatever. He might be going to juvie or something, or I might be going with him or something like that. But we didn't really have a plan. So I was just made a decision in the moment. I'm going to go back, get arrested, and see where they're going to take him. But just getting back to the story, I don't know why he fucked up the plan, but he was always down for this shit. That I don't know why. I would have been like, you guys suck. I'm not fucking...
Yeah.
I'm at least not going to run with you. But
there's been a lot of things that probably been against my better judgment. But once him and the rest of the crew were my guys, like they were my guys. Like he said, like how he felt about, like, he's not leaving his brother behind is how I felt about them, and how I felt about him, and why we've stuck together in all these bands and everything. And that's, you know, so to bring this full circle, like, that mentality, that feeling, it's like how I feel when he walks in and he doesn't have lyrics, and he doesn't have, you know, a plan written down or whatever, because, like, I know he's, as he says, he's gonna get out of the way, and whatever flows through him is gonna be the right thing.
Yeah. Not like I'm lazy, though. I do some research and stuff. You know, if there's a piece of music or whatever, I do, like, let it percolate in my mind. I don't beat on it. I listen to it and memorize it, and then I kind of, like, let it go. And then the answer kind of comes back when it's supposed to. And if it doesn't come back, I never believe that it's not returning. I just think that it's taking its time to come back on the right time.
Taking its time. Wow. It makes sense. It sounds like, you guys just trust each other and had each other's back, especially in an area of the country where that's, like, everything. And, like, you guys also grew up at a time where, like, you have to have, like, where I don't even know, but, like, you had to have, like, trust, where, like, you'll be hanging out in, like, a driveway, and then you see an acquaintance get shot by someone in the car, and then you get questioned by the cops, and he don't say shit.
Yeah.
That's just that's just the kind of upbringing that you have. No one is going to rat someone else out.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Some people do, but those people are also part of it. You know, it's just part of the ecosystem. Just to circle back to some of the earlier stuff we were talking about, it's good to separate that type of stuff, but it's also good not to get emotionally involved, because, you know, some people are going to rat you out. And that's just part of it. Just like the police are a part of it. If you're doing the wrong thing, you know, if you're not doing the wrong thing, then you probably have other problems with relationships or family life or whatever you might have. Everyone has their own thing, but it's all part of a balance, I think. You know, the reason why, you know, crime pays is because you have to get around the obstacle of the law. Some people do. Like, I mean, if you're a politician, you don't have to get around anything. You can just do whatever you want. But down here in the pleb lands, you know, you have these equalizers called the police, or then you have the rats, and you have the people with no integrity and stuff like that. So it all just equals itself out, I think. That's why there's no real reason to be emotional or concerned or react all crazy, because it's just what it is, you know. It's part of it, and if you know that going in, it kind of makes things easier. It's kind of like if you're going into a fight and you're kind of already accept that you're going to get hit. The fight's a little bit easier because he's just like, Cat William has the joke about if you ride, you're going to fall. Because he's talking about getting a motorcycle, and he's talking to one of his friends, like, I'm trying to get a motorcycle, da-da-da-da-da. And his friend's like, if you ride, you're going to fall. And he's like, what? But I really think people don't really think like that. You know?
No.
It makes it a lot easier if you go into a situation where you're thinking, I'm going to fall. Or, you know, if you go into a fight thinking, I should probably be able to take some hits. Maybe I can only take 5 instead of 10 or something. Or if you go into a situation where you're like, jail and death are a part of this situation. So if I accept that, it's not going to catch me off guard. It's not like diving in the deep end when you don't know how to swim. You know it's the deep end, and you know you don't know how to swim. So you should just stay your ass in the spot you're supposed to be in. You know what I mean? So I've always accepted that anyway, because my whole family's into that scene. So I've seen it since I was a kid. It's not anything new, but
Accepting is a big, it's a big one. It's hard to do.
Yeah,
It's cool.
just accept it.
All right, I'm gonna get fucking punched in the face. Do you ever knowing you have, you know, you both have such like a high IQ as far as like the street smarts. I just don't know what that's like, and what can you like sniff out like, okay, that they will probably rat. Can you like, is there like something kind of goes off? Is there like a, oh hey wait, maybe like
A
your
spider
character
sense.
Yeah, is there like a character flaw that I sense?
I see it a lot in the way you see people interact with other people, how they treat people around them, how they treat people that people act like certain people are below them, stuff like that, you know, kind of.
Well, there's 2 categories, like we were talking about at the beginning with the band. It's like, these are people in this world. I don't run that analysis, that little mental background check on them. I'm not scanning you at this moment, because I'm not going to get involved with you like that. So that's over with, and it's done, and it's not worth it. So that's just, I use my energy on people in that world, that, you know, street people. You're kind of always building a little profile, I guess, almost like what do they call it in the digital world of the internet and shit? Like almost like a character profile. You're always keen, you know what I mean, to build these. You might not be able to meet someone and be like, yeah, that's a rat, but everyone talks so much, half the time you already know who a rat is because they're ratting. So but the other thing is kind of a work in progress. You're always paying attention to what these people are doing. You're like, oh, this guy can't even handle this. He for sure can't handle this. Or it comes down to fundamental questions, I think, like integrity and stuff like that. Yeah. It sounds stupid and lame, but the person that has integrity is not the person that's running around screaming that he has integrity with the integrity shirt on that says integrity across the chest and the integrity tattoo on the shin. That's not the guy, you know? So that's actually the anti-integrity. But I think you just have a keen sense, and you just build these little profiles on people, which isn't healthy to keep those in your mind, you know, constantly running a scan on everyone around you, especially, you know, coming from my shitty family, I have to run these scans on my own family, you know. I come from a damn weird family that kills each other and all this other stuff. So I guess in that sense, it's kind of a second nature because it's just the way that we are. But that's not really the way that I'm trying to do it. You know, it's a sharpened skill though, little sense you get. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. All right, I got the time for somehow just flew by, and my questions I don't even have time for. So I'm gonna squeeze in 2 more.
Rattle them off. I'll give you quick answers.
Okay, cool. So, what was the writing process like for "Fat Around the Heart"? Since we're talking, like, it seems really people really connect with that song, and especially the process for your band is just not exactly conventional.
Yeah.
So I was just curious how that.
It was the phrase. It's a voodoo phrase, it's kind of has a Creole origin, like the New Orleans voodoo, not necessarily the Western African voodoo, but it's a phrase that just means scared, and that's kind of how I felt about this world that I was looking at, I guess, at the time. And so I came out with the kind of the cadence and the idea, and then the riff kind of stuck to it because I don't have any skills on the guitar. So the riff, when the riff sticks to the lyrics, that I was behind it doing something shitty, and it's not graceful, and it's kind of percussive, and it's kind of sloppy, but and it's kind of meatheady, and it's not very thoughtful, but it was just the idea, punching the idea through, da 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 da, drop it down on some verses, and it was just a reflection of exactly what we were just talking about, actually, fear and things like that. It just comes from that idea.
Eugene, do you remember hearing like the music? Like, oh, this is sick.
Yeah, I was like, this slaps. Yeah, okay, this is it. This is.
This is slappy.
This is That's I don't know. It was I kind of could feel that was like gonna be like one of the big songs on the record. I mean, it helps that we did a video for it and pushed it and everything too. But there was that that demo that we released before that was, what was it? That Kill 'Em All,
Desperate Lovers, I think.
Desperate Lovers on it. Yeah, yeah. It's just I do remember when we were writing it, like it was just kind of this is this is our first real look, or everybody, and coming from what we were doing before and shit, and just trying to like kind of be better songwriters and stuff. The song is just very straightforward. He says, oh, it's kind of meatheady and stuff, but it doesn't, the song doesn't do anything it doesn't need to do.
It's true.
So bass wise, just very rhythmic, very simple. It's one of the easiest songs to play. It's just, I don't think there's anything that's not on the fucking bottom string in that song. You know what I mean? But it grooves and it's locked in and it's tight, and yeah, it's, on the chorus, it's right on top, the vocals and everything's just right on top of each other, but that's why it hits. That's why it hits hard. It doesn't have to be crazy, flashy, whatever. It can be meatheaded, but you feel that shit when it hits,
Sure.
And that first chorus hits and the fucking just feel like everything's just coming down on you.
Yeah. It's like, man, where are you guys from?
Yeah.
Shit.
So it's, we're guilty of huffing our own farts sometimes, man. We're in the studio feeling ourselves and shit, you know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
Some shit's hitting right, dude, I ride around bumping our shit all the time, and people are like, do you fucking sit and listen to your own music? It's like, dude, if you're not writing your own favorite songs, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you writing it?
I like that. It's sick. Well, I know you guys don't do, I think I've only seen one interview with both of you. So
It's very rare.
So thank you for giving me your time. So since this is your time, is there anything out there you want people to know? Anything? This is your platform.
No. I guess we could talk about what we're doing right now for 30 seconds, which is we have the next project that we have coming out is an EP, but I don't really like to call it that because it's an indie film, like a full-length film, and the songs are the soundtrack that live inside of the film, and the EP project is those songs that are in the film, and the film comes in little episodes. So the first episode came, I think, a week ago or two, and the second episode of the installment comes tomorrow. So that would be my only corny a self-aggrandizing plug.
Okay,
It's
cool.
it's a pretty cool idea because I've never seen anyone roll out this episodic. I guess it would be a series. I kind of think of it as a film because it's one piece, but it's a series since it's episodic. And you have this story that we are telling, and we're in it. So we're in it, and we filmed it, and all this other stuff, and the music for the next project is in it as well. It's called Under the Black Rainbow. So hopefully, I don't know, people think it's cool, but I really don't care. It's going to be cool.
You took the words out of my mouth. I know you guys don't really care.
I just think it's cool to do something that I've never seen someone do,
Yeah.
which is why we made a porno as a music video. I just think like stuff like that
great
is
news.
kind of cool. And I think this is exciting to me, but I hope it's exciting to other people because just tuning in each week to watch the little next episode installment. The story's pretty cool. Obviously, I think that because I wrote it, but I would think it was cool otherwise. And
It's cool. If you want a second opinion, it's fucking awesome.
Oh, got we got the stamp.
Yeah.
Got the K-Mart stamp.
But that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Also, we're on tour. I don't know when this will drop, but we'll probably still be on tour. We're touring a lot this year. So
Yeah, it's not this Monday, but the following Monday.
right. Cool.
So-
Well, we'll still be on tour.
We'll be on tour.
And
This thing that we're doing now rolls out for like 3 months. It's just episode after episode after episode telling this story. And so it goes into this next tour that we're doing in August, which is the Under the Black Rainbow tour, which is for the EP.
Sick.
So it's cool. Yeah, that's what we're working on right now. Hopefully it turns out well. I could be, again, delusional, think that it's way cooler than it is, but hey, maybe give me a call and let me know what you think, Garza.
Yeah, sure. I'll shoot a text. This is something.
Yeah. That's good enough.
No, your band's always done things on your own terms, and I respect that because it is, it's not exactly a common thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. I was close it off, and then I was listening to your book.
Okay.
And I got another hour and 45 left, so I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay.
But I'm at the overpass, and I'll say 3 words: overpass, knife, ribs.
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, just listen. I don't know. I don't think I've ever in my life just been into any kind of book so much. I mean, at that point, I've been listening for 4 hours straight.
Oh, wow.
I was crazy. I was just like, walking around here. I'm like, I don't know.
Garza, I hope you're not getting depressed.
No.
Because I see when you said it, you were like, I just starts looking down. He's
No,
like,
it's more like inspiration.
why did I do this podcast? I gotta find something better.
No. It's very,
just joking.
it's very inspiring. My mind goes to the. I'm pretty drawn to like the dark stuff.
Okay.
And that makes me inspired to riffs and do more of these. And so that's anyone that does what they want to do is inspiring. That helps me write riffs. So
Yeah. That's awesome.
that's cool.
Well, you're doing an awesome job at it.
Appreciate
Your
that.
stuff is cool, and this is awesome. So I would say congratulations to you too, because
Thank you.
it's gotten pretty popular for the short amount of time, having just started within, how long has it been?
It's only,
Few
only 3 years.
years, I was going to say.
Mhm.
Yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, and it's like podcasting is like music. 3 years is nothing.
Yeah.
You're
You're still like getting reps. It's just, yeah.
It feels good. And
It's not anything until you hit the 10-year mark, is it really?
Yeah, I'd say maybe if I hit like the episode 250 mark or like the 500 mark, 5 years, 7, I'll probably maybe feel something.
Then you'll think something's going.
Yeah.
That might be cool.
Yeah, then that's when you'll still have the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Still probably.
Yeah,
Why? Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Stupid. You're so stupid.
I know. That's a good voice, though. It's a good voice to have in
It
your head.
is.
Because it kind of keeps you in line, I guess.
I've learned to run towards it.
Yeah. It's not a bad place to go.
No.
I think that's probably exactly where we sit. If you think of an idea and it's kind of, I don't know, intimidating, not scary, but new, intimidating, worrisome, that's probably the direction you should go into, I think.
Great. Yeah, anything that man peers, they say that that's the thing you should go towards.
Exactly.
You know, I'm getting somewhat better at it as I get older.
Yeah.
Weed helps me.
Weed kind of helps you run towards the monster, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it shows you the monster if you like it or not, and then you have a choice. So, okay, am I going to work harder? Am I going to do this or do that? So it's help.
You seem to be doing a good job. Everything looks in order. Looks like that's in the right spot.
And to top it off, well, that's the most important part.
Yeah.
To top it off, I had to literally start my own podcast and completely work my ass off to hang out with your band.
People.
So,
Wow.
Garza. That's what it took.
Chris, you didn't have to do all this, man. You could have just hit me up.
I tried to walk on the bus and almost got beat up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
Okay.
you know, you had to get past security and everything.
Yeah, Garza, I don't know if you know this, but King 810, we got security, we got all this detail. This is a high.
You didn't go through the proper channels.
You know what I'm
saying?
saying? You know
gotta
this as well as I do.
Okay.
So we got the private chefs and the things like that because we're so well paid playing for 300 people, and you need to go through the proper channels. Okay, that's all it was. I'm just joking.
Oh yeah, well, I'm stoked that you guys are here alive. That's
Thanks,
cool.
man.
Thanks.
Right on.
Likewise.
All right, everyone. That's it. Later. Appreciate it.